Hi guys, it's Brittney with America Scores here, and we are here for our last summer scores writing lesson. Today's gonna be again a little bit different than we have been doing in the past, but it builds off of our last lesson where we talked about pitch. So we talked about how we could pitch a product, we came up with a product that we would want to sell, and how we could pitch it. Well, the other part of the One Middle School, One Hen program, where you create your own business, is figuring out what cost, revenue, and profit are. So in order to know if you're a profitable business and you're doing well, you have to know how much your cost to make that business, how much revenue you make, and how much profit you make. So we're going to talk about those numbers, and we're going to do a fun little activity as your last and final writing activity with me for this summer. And then we are going to take a break, and then we are going to head into fall. So first, as always, we're going to talk about what cost, revenue, and profit are. So we need to know what these words are and what they mean. So we're going to do a little activity. And we're actually going to do, I'm going to show you a definition, and you have a word bank up here, and you're going to see if you can figure out which word belongs in the definition. So what I want you to do is I want you to pause the video after I give you the definition and take a moment and see if you can figure out what the definition is referring to. So as you see, we have these words here. So it's initial cost, unit, unit cost, unit price, revenue, and profit. So our first definition or question is the money you spend on material to make all your products is called your, what is it called? That money that you spend to make everything. It's called your initial cost. So this is what it's going to cost you to make, for all the materials to make all your products. So this is your initial cost. It's how much you have to put into the business in order to then put out products so that you can have a cost, you can have revenue and profit. A product that you make or sell is called, so what is another word for a product that you make or sell? It's called a unit. So this is a term that's used a lot of times in business. It says that one product, so if my phone was a product, it'd be a unit. So this is one unit. The money you spend on materials to make one product is called your, so the money you make to make just one product. So if I was making pens, the materials it makes to just make this one pen is called what? It's called a unit cost, because this is a unit. It's how much cost goes into making this unit. So we figure out how much it costs to make one of these. The amount of money you sell each product is called the, so how much do you sell each unit for or each product for? So if I'm selling pens, how much does it cost to sell my one pen? To your unit price. So we figure out, once you figure out how much it costs, you then get to determine how much you're going to sell it for, or so how much this price is going to be. So how much me as a consumer would then buy the one pen for. The money you make from selling all of your products is called. So let's say you make 100 pens, you sell all of those 100 pens, they get bought by a bunch of people. What is that called? It's called revenue. So it's all the money you bring in, okay? It's your revenue is all the money you bring in from selling things, okay? You don't think about your cost at this point. It's just all the money. It's called your revenue. Money you have left over when you subtract your cost from your revenue is your. So when you take how much this pen took to cut, so our unit cost, how much it takes to make these, figure out how it makes to make 100 of these, you figure out how much it cost you, your initial cost. So if you're making 100 pens and it costs you $1 to make each, so it's $100 to make 100 pens, that's your initial cost. So you take that from your revenue. Say you sell it for $2, so you make $200 on all 100 pens. You take 200 minus 100, and your profit, give you the hint there, is $100. So your profit is how much you get once you take your cost out of your revenue. So your revenue, again, is all the money you make, all right? So all that money you bring in, and then you have to take out the cost, because you have to figure out how much did you actually make, because you have to remember that it cost you something in order to make this product. So you then have to sit back and say, I need to pay myself back or I need to pay in how much it cost, and then I need to figure out how much money is left, because that's the new money. That's money that you didn't have before. So that's what cost, revenue, and profit all mean. So I hope you had fun going through those lecture definitions with me and coming with the profits. So remember, you can reference this slide later because you might need it with our next project. So now we're going to try to do some math. So now we're going to try to do the math of figuring out what cost, revenue, initial, all of that we just talked about. So we're actually going to use some numbers and we're going to use some examples so you can walk through this with me so you can kind of have an idea. So our first question, so first before I start, I want you to talk, so Kojo. So the whole idea of one hen came from a gentleman named Kojo, who's from Africa, I believe it's Ghana. His story is that he, really brief, you can find his story in more depth online. You can find a book called One Hen, which is what this whole project curriculum is based off of. But basically, he got a chicken, he got eggs, he made money from those eggs, he bought more chickens, and he built up. So he built up this empire of chicken and eggs in Africa. More complicated than that. There's much more to it, but that's the really basic part of who Kojo is. And this is why we were talking about One Hen, because he was a small businessman who started with just a chicken and some eggs, and he built up a chicken empire because he was smart enough to know how to work with his money and how to be a good businessman. So he started from a small business, and that's kind of where you would be with our One Hen program. So back to our math problem here. So it says, Kojo purchases 2 hens from market for $5 each. What's his initial cost? Okay, so that's what the first thing we got to figure out is, how much does it cost him to start this business? So if he had 2 hens and he bought them for $5 each, how much is his initial cost? So what we got to do is we got to take the cost of 1 hen, we got to add to the cost of hen number 2, and that's going to give us our initial cost. Okay, so 1 hen equals $5. So it took cost $5 for 1 hen, because it says here from market for $5 each. Cost for second hen is $5. And then 5 plus 5 is 10. So his initial cost for starting this chicken business is $10. He had to spend $10 to get the chickens to get the eggs. Okay, so this is before he even could do anything. He had to spend $10. So his 2 hens lay 5 eggs each. Okay, so he has 2 hens that each lay 5 eggs. Each egg is 1 unit. So as we talked about, your product is 1 unit. So what he's doing is he's selling eggs. So 1 egg is 1 unit, which is 1 product for him. How many units will Kojo have? So he's figuring out how many units does he have to sell, because he's got 2 hens, he's got 5 eggs each. So we take the number of hens that he has, we times it, or we multiply it by eggs for each hen. So how many eggs each hen laid? And that's going to give us the total number of eggs, or number of units, or how much product he has to sell. So he has 2 hens. You times that by 5 eggs for each hen. That gives you 10 total eggs. So 5 times 2 is 10. So he has 10 eggs to sell. Okay? So we're using Kojo's initial cost. What is the unit cost for each egg? So we're trying to figure out how much does it cost for each egg, just to get it down to our very basic math. So we have the initial cost, which was $10. We want to take that and figure out how much it costs so he can have 1 egg. So we take his initial cost, we divide it by the total number of eggs that he has, or total number of products or units that he's going to be selling. And that's going to get us the unit cost. We're going to figure out how much 1 egg is costing him to produce. So his initial cost was $10, which we figured out in our first equation. We divide that by the number of eggs that he has, which we just figured out, which is 10 eggs, and that gives us $1. So it cost him $1 to get 1 egg, okay? So Kojo wants his profit from selling his eggs to be the same as his initial cost. So he wants his profit to equal his cost. How much revenue must he earn selling his eggs? So he wants his profit to be the same as his cost. So he wants to make as much as he's spending. So we take his initial cost, we add it to what the initial profit or initial cost is, because his profit is going to be the same as initial cost. And we're going to get his revenue. So that's $10, which is initial cost. Remember, we did that in the last slide. If you need to go back, you can look. So $10 plus another $10 because we just said the profit's going to be same as initial cost, and we just said initial cost is $10. He needs to make $20. So he needs to make $20 selling his eggs in order to get a $10 profit. So how much must he sell each egg to earn that amount? This will be his price per unit or unit price. So this will be how much each egg will sell for. So we have his revenue, which we just figured out above. We're going to divide that by the total eggs that he has, and that's going to give us the unit price, or how much he has to sell each egg for. So we have $20 as our revenue. So he just said, we just figured out he's got to earn $20. He's got to make it. You're going to divide it by the number of eggs. Remember, we figured out in the second equation, that's 10 eggs, and that gives us $2. So he has to sell each egg for $2. It's because he has 10 eggs. 10 times 2 is 20 in order to get revenue of $20 so that his profit can be $10. Because when you figure out your profit, you take your revenue, which we said is 20, and we take away our cost, how much it cost us to make all these eggs, which we now know is $10. In order to get that, and that profit would be then $10. So he would then take home $10 because that's how much he had left. So now you're going to do your own towers. What we're going to do a building challenge. Look through your house and find 2 different things that you can build with, because you're going to need 2 different types of things. So we usually use in the program, we use marshmallows and either toothpicks or spaghetti, but you can use any 2 different things to build, whether that's Legos, different blocks, pipe cleaners, whatever you have around the house. Just find 2 different kind of things that you can use. So what you're going to do is either the connector or marshmallows, that's what's holding it together, is going to cost you 5 cents every time you use one. Every support you use, which is going to hold up things, and I'll show you my example in a second, is going to cost you 10 cents. So what I want you to do is I want you to take a second, and I want you to find those, and then I want you to set a timer, and I want you to see if you could build how you can build a tower, okay? Because you're going to earn revenue based on how well you can build your tower. So for each inch your tower is up to 5 inches, so each inch up to 5 inches is going to earn you 25 cents. If your tower is over 5 inches, every inch above 5 is going to earn you 50 cents. If your tower can stand upright without you touching it or anybody touching it or anything holding it up, it's going to earn you 25 cents. If it can stand up for 30 seconds, it's going to earn you 50 cents. Okay? So pause the video, put a timer on, and build your tower, and then come back so you can see my tower and watch me figure out how I figure out my profit. So you're back, which means you have a tower. Well, I don't know how high it is, but I'll show you what I did. Now, I did mine very quickly. There's probably better ways to do mine, but I did mine very quickly because I just wanted to do it for the video. So you'll see here, this is my tower. All right, this is my lovely tower. Not super big, and it's using a lot more supports than I probably should have. So we're first going to figure out how much this tower costs me to make. Okay, so first we have to figure out how many marshmallows I use, or connectors. So as you can see, that's what holding the ends together. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So there's 8 marshmallows here. So I have 8 marshmallows. I multiply that by 5 cents. That gives me 40 cents. All right. So my marshmallows cost me 40 cents. So my supports cost me 10 cents. And I used a lot of supports in this. Like I said, if I had spent a little more time thinking it through, I probably could have done this with less supports. But I have 1, 2, 3, 4 on the top, 5, 6, 7, 8 in the middle, 9, 10, 11, 12 makes it on the bottom. So I have 12 supports at 10 cents each. That's $1.20. Okay? So just the supports alone cost me $1.20. So I take $1.20, I add the 40 cents, and that gives me $1.60. Okay? So my tower cost me $1.60 to make. Like I said, there's probably a lot less expensive ways and more cost, more revenue. But so what we're now going to do now is we're going to see how much revenue my tower is going to earn me. So we got to first figure out how tall my tower is. All right, because you earn money for how tall your tower is. Remember, if it's up to 5 inches, 25 cents. If it's above 5 inches, for every 5 inches above 25 cents, you get 50. So I have a tape measure here, and I'm going to measure it down here, just because if I try to measure it in the camera view, it's going to fall over. So, okay. So, okay, I'm going to try to show you. So you can see here, even though it's probably a little hard to see, but I'm going to show you anyways. It's about exactly 5 inches. So I have the top here all the way to here. It's probably not very exactly, so I don't have a ruler, I have a measuring tape, but we're going to go with 5 inches. So I made it up to 5 inches, which means for each inch, so that's 5 inches, I get 25 cents. So 25 times 5 inches, that's going to give me $1.25. So far I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay making it. All right. So now we have to see how long my tower is going to stand upright. So I'm going to hold it like this on my hand, and we're going to use that as my table. So what we're going to do is I'm going to set a timer. I'm going to set a timer for 30 seconds, and we're going to see if my timer. Okay. We're going to see how long, if it'll fall in 30 seconds. Okay. So we're going to set the timer. I have a timer set on my phone. I'm going to hit start, and we're going to see if it stands for the entire 30 seconds. If I can get it for 30 seconds, I get 50 cents. Okay, so let's see. Ready, set, go. So far, I think we're pretty good. I might have used too many supports, but it looks like it's standing pretty well, right? It's not, doesn't look like it's going to fall, though it probably would stand better if it was on a solid ground and on my hand that's moving and shaking, but we'll just give it, it's like an earthquake challenge too. How is it sturdy enough to endure an earthquake or a giant getting it? All right, we only have 30 seconds left. And hey, so I made it. Oops, I don't want to repeat it. I made it 30 seconds. So my tower made it 30 seconds, which means I get 50 cents. So I had $1.25 that I earned because it's 5 inches tall. I can add 50 cents. So my revenue is $1.75. Now my cost, now we have to know, did I make a profit? So we have to take profit equals revenue, which is how much I earned for my tower, minus how much it cost me, which is how much each of these pieces cost. So we said my revenue was $1.75. It cost me $1.60 to make this. So $1.75 minus $1.60 is 15 cents. So my profit is 15 cents. So if I had this as a business, I'd be taking home 15 cents. That's how much more money I made myself. Now, again, not the best profit. Like I said, there's probably a lot of different ways you can make these towers, and I have seen some fantastic towers in my years with One Hen and working with scores, and there are some fantastic ways to do this, guys. So, and there's some so creative ways that can make these tall towers that stand for a long time and don't cost a lot. But I said I did mine quickly. So this was 15 cents. So what we want you to do is, as always, I want to share it. I want to see your towers, and I want to know how much revenue and how much profit did you make. So what I want you to do is, I want you to, again, I want you to pause the video. I want you to play the game. I want you to make your own towers. I want you to figure out what your cost and your revenues are using the formulas we just talked about. Watch the video again to walk through it if you need to. I want you to go to flipgrid.com. I want you to put in the code writing poems, and I want you to put under the topic that says cost, revenue, and profit. I want you to show us your video with your tower. Show us your tower. Let me know how much revenue you made. Let me know what your profit was. If you want, you can tell me how tall it was, how long it stood, and see if maybe you can be the one who has the tallest. Can you beat me? I bet you can. I bet you can do better than 15 cents profit. So remember, once you submit 5 videos, you can earn $10 Walmart gift card. This is our last week of posting, so you have very limited time to post those videos and earn that gift card. So if you have not done so already, make sure you post 5 videos. Remember, it is either 5 soccer, 5 writing, or combination soccer and writing, whatever you like to do. Once you have all 5 videos posted, we will then send you your gift card. We had so much fun. I had so much fun with you guys this summer. We cannot wait to fall. We will let you guys know as soon as what our fall looks like, as soon as our plans are finalized. But till then, I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your summer, and we will see you soon. Bye, guys.